UCLA is officially open. Their head coach, Chip Kelly, has taken the offense coordinator job at Ohio State. So today we're going to be taking a look at 10 names here, which could be potential candidates for the UCLA opening. All right, there's some names here you're probably going to recognize, some names you might not recognize, but we're going to break down this list. At the end of the video, I'll give you my prediction on who I think they will hire and who I think they should hire. And let's go ahead and get started here, shall we? All right, first up, PJ Fleck, Minnesota head coach. All right, he's had so-so success at Minnesota, but Minnesota is not the easiest job to win. He doesn't necessarily fit the UCLA criteria as far as he's not from out there. You know, I mean, he's been up in Big Ten country pretty much his whole coaching career. I think he's from Illinois. So he fits the Big Ten scheme here. But obviously, like I said, Minnesota is not the easiest place to win, but he has won at Minnesota. And so would he be interested in taking a potentially better job in UCLA? They're coming to the Big Ten. They probably make a lot more money than Minnesota. So they're in a better situation as far as that is concerned. But you would have to completely restart. And UCLA is not in the best position right now as far as football is concerned. But would definitely be an interesting hire, I would say, but I don't know if he leaves Minnesota or not. Next up, David Shaw. All right, you may remember him, former Stanford head coach, has interviewed for a ton of NFL jobs over the past few years, but his name has been thrown around a lot for this job so far. But I think he'll probably end up being the same thing as Chip Kelly. I don't think he's too interested in recruiting right now. He kind of saw that towards the end at Stanford, and the game has kind of changed a little bit. You know, you got to recruit constantly. You got to worry about the transfer portal. It's a little different now. Next up, a very interesting name, Tom Herman, FAU head coach, formerly Texas's head coach, former offense coordinator at Ohio State. Really won a lot of ball games at Texas. He beat Georgia in that Sugar Bowl, if you'll remember back to that, with Sam Ehlinger. He's back now. He's at FAU. Didn't have that much success last year, but again, looking at his Texas resume, he actually did pretty good at Texas. And I think he had things on the right track. I know a lot of people weren't fans of him, but I thought he did a pretty good job at Texas. I think this would be a good hire for UCLA. I don't know if he fits. Again, he's not necessarily from out there, but I like this hire for UCLA if you go with Tom Herman. Next up, Jamey Chadwell, Liberty head coach. You've seen his name thrown around a lot for various Power 5 jobs. Probably the best next guy on any list right now. He's won a ton of ball games, Coastal Carolina, Liberty. All right, obviously he made the New Year's Six Bowls with Liberty this year. He's a really good head coach. Now he fits kind of that SEC, geographic. He's kind of from that area, coaching wise in Carolina, now Liberty. So I don't know if he necessarily fits at UCLA, but he's probably definitely the best coach on this list, I would say. He wins wherever he goes. Like I said, Coastal Carolina, you'll think back to 2020 when they were just tearing it up with Grayson McCall, them and BYU. You'll remember that on that Thursday night game, undefeated team. And then obviously what he did this year at Liberty, Jamey Chadwell, definitely an interesting prospect. Next up, Ryan Grubb, Alabama offense coordinator, formerly Washington's offense coordinator up until now. Really did some interesting things at Washington this year with Michael Penix Jr. I've been told he's turned down a bunch of Group of 5 jobs, so he's obviously holding out for something Power 5 wise. Definitely wouldn't be a bad hire. We don't know what he's capable of as a head coach yet, but he's definitely done some really good things as offense coordinator. Next up, Lynn, USC defense coordinator, formerly UCLA's defense coordinator, was there until this offseason. He's going to USC under Lincoln Riley to replace Grinch, but he was UCLA's DC this year. So he has ties to the current roster. You might could hire him and hold on to what you do have now on that roster. Otherwise, you might see a max exodus in the transfer portal like we're seeing for all these jobs that are coming open, Next up, Barry Odom, UNLV head coach, formerly Missouri's head coach. Wasn't that successful at Missouri, but did have a couple good seasons where they reached the top 25. Has done really good at UNLV. And does he want to move back up? Sometimes guys are just better fits for the Group of 5, the lower tier. They're better with those programs than they are moving up to the Power 5. Definitely an intriguing prospect. He's been thrown around a lot with these jobs lately, so I think usually where there's smoke, there's fire. He's trying to move up. But I feel like he might go do a little better than Odom. Next up, Will Stein, Oregon offense coordinator, has done really good things with Oregon's offense. Think similar to Ryan Grubb, He's got his name attached to Dan Lanning right now, was also the OC at UTSA before he moved up to Oregon. So he's definitely working up the tree. Now, would this be too big of a jump? I don't know. I don't know if UCLA is too big of a jump or not. They are in the Power 2, despite wondering how good the job is. They are in the SEC and the Big Ten. So they're in that Power 2 vacuum. So that puts you already pretty high on the job pecking order when it comes to UCLA. So I don't know if this is too big of a jump, but it might be worth the risk. Next up, Tony White, Nebraska defense coordinator, did play for UCLA. So he's probably looking for UCLA to be successful. He's not just looking to leave UCLA at the first opportunity like a lot of these guys are. Wouldn't be a bad hire because, like I said, he wants to see UCLA be successful. He is reportedly looking for his first head coaching job, so he's looking to move up. Has had okay success this past season at Nebraska. Was also at Syracuse previously, but wouldn't be a bad hire. You're hiring a UCLA guy, so he wants to see you win at least. All right, last on this list, Matt Campbell, Iowa State head coach. We've seen his name thrown around a bunch as well. Previously with Washington, Arizona, saw his name chunked around a little bit. So he's looking to move up maybe to get to that Power 2 level like everybody's trying to do right now, get to the Big Ten or the SEC. That's kind of the goal, player-wise, coach-wise, everybody. Not a bad option. I'd say similar to PJ Fleck. Matt Campbell has won ball games at Iowa State. You're not going to win a national championship at Iowa State. That's probably not realistic. Would UCLA give you a better chance at doing that? I think it would. UCLA is a better job than Iowa State overall, but would he want to leave for UCLA? Is that going to be a pay increase? I don't know. All right, so let's go ahead and break down this list. Let's get rid of the definite no's first off. All right, so first off, D'Anton Lynn. All right, despite maybe potentially holding on to the roster if you do bring him in, I don't know if that's a realistic option here because I feel like UCLA, even though they're not the highest job, I still think they can pull in successful Power 5 head coaches, even though they're not Ohio State, for example. I mean, I think they can still pull in proven successful Power 5 head coaches that have head coach experience and have won ball games before. All right, next thing I'm going to take off here, Barry Odom. Again, we've seen his name thrown around a lot lately, but I don't think he is the guy at UCLA. I think they're going to look for a guy that is just a little different from Barry Odom. Next thing I'm going to cross off, Will Stein. All right, similar to Lynn. All right, I just need to see a little more and prefer to see him win at a Power 5 group of 5 schools as a head coach maybe, before he gets that opportunity. Next one, Tony White, Nebraska. We're going to mark him off. Similar situation. Not a bad option by any means, but when I'm doing the hiring process, I'm looking for a guy that has, at least when I'm UCLA, I know I can pull in a guy that has proven success as a head coach. So I'm going to go ahead and mark him out. Next thing I'm going to mark off here, Jamey Chadwell. All right, now he is, in my opinion, the best coach on here. I don't think he'll look to go to UCLA. I feel like he's holding out for an SEC job, maybe Florida next year when Napier gets fired. So I don't think he'll go to UCLA, but then again, he could because obviously, money talks, and that's going to be a little tempting. I think, again, he is the best head coach on this list, in my opinion, one of the best head coaches in the nation. So if you can pull Jamey Chadwell, you hire him, but I don't think he is interested in them. All right, next thing we're going to cross off here is going to be Matt Campbell. I think he is looking to move up, obviously, to one of the bigger schools. I don't know if he's a fit at UCLA. I think he might hold out for a different job, but if they do call, he might listen. I don't know. I don't know if they call him or not because there are some intriguing names on this list, but definitely not a bad option. Next thing I'm going to cross off here, David Shaw. He's just got too many issues that I don't think fit nowadays college football because he doesn't seem like he's too interested in working with the transfer portal, recruiting that, and NIL, all that crap that goes on now that wasn't a thing originally when he was at Stanford, but was at the end. So I don't think he's necessarily interested in that. I think he's more of an NFL guy now. All right, so we got 3 names left here, Ryan Grubb, Tom Herman, PJ Fleck. All right, Ryan Grubb, like I said, formerly Washington's offense coordinator, has turned down group of 5 opportunities to hold out for a Power 5 job, most likely. Tom Herman has ties to UCLA's athletic director. PJ Fleck, for some reason, is the name I've seen thrown around with this job already. I don't know why exactly, but not a bad option. So we have actually 3 pretty intriguing names here. This is kind of a tough list to break down. If I'm making the hire out of these three, I'm probably going with, if PJ Fleck says yes, it might be him, but Tom Herman. If I'm making the hire, I'm going with Tom Herman here, but I don't think that's the guy UCLA is going to go with. But if I was making the hire out of those three, I would say Tom Herman because he had a lot of success at Texas, in my opinion. All right. And with these final two, Ryan Grubb or PJ Fleck, I can't talk all of a sudden. I've just seen too much smoke with PJ Fleck for some reason that I think this is the guy they're going to hire. It is surprising to me that his name is being associated with this job because obviously he's already in the Big Ten. But UCLA does have more resources than Minnesota. I've heard some people are kind of getting fed up with him in Minnesota despite he's almost reached 10 games a couple times winning wise, and that's not easy to do at Minnesota. So I think he's really done good. You know, it's row the boat mentality. He was Western Michigan's head coach, by the way, when they were really good a few years ago, if you didn't know that. So yeah, I think PJ Fleck might be their guy, but I think it's going to definitely be between him and Ryan Grubb. But that's just my thoughts. Who do you think they hire? Who do you think they will hire? Who do you think they should hire? Let me know. Comment down below. Make sure to like this video. Most importantly, subscribe.